Opa, bom dia, Alex aqui. Hoje no Conto dos Quatro Cantos a gente não vai ter só um episódio em áudio, a gente vai ter um episódio em vídeo, por isso que você tá me vendo. Eu sei, sim, é assustador, mas sou eu, é o que a gente tem pra hoje. E a gente tá fazendo esse episódio em vídeo pra poder legendar pra vocês uma entrevista que eu fiz. Como você pode ver no título, hoje a entrevista foi com a Bandit, uma lutadora dos Estados Unidos, que já lutou na Prestige, já lutou na EW e em vários outros lugares, e a gente vai falar um pouco sobre algumas lutas dela, principalmente a luta contra o Malakai Black, que foi a luta que me inspirou a fazer esse episódio do conto. Eu queria falar especificamente da luta, mas a gente acabou também indo para vários outros assuntos e acabou ficando uma entrevista bem legal. Então esse é um episódio do conto meio sui generis, mas é um episódio que eu tô muito orgulhoso de ter feito. E a gente vai deixar aqui legendado pra vocês. Então por isso eu tô fazendo esse preâmbulo do vídeo. Até porque a gente começa meio que do meio, já vai falando, e aí eu vou introduzir a gente lá pro minuto 14. Então é bom dar essa introduzida anterior. Beleza? Então obrigado, gente. E espero que vocês gostem. Lembrem de acessar o WrestleBR. Lembrem de acessar o Central Wrestling. Lembrem de acessar o Elas Que Lutem. E também deixar o like, se inscrever no canal. Toda terça-feira ou segunda, depende da semana, tem live pra falar de Raw, SmackDown, Collision e todas as outras coisas, pay-per-views, o que você quiser tem aqui. Beleza? Então, muito obrigado, espero que vocês gostem do episódio. Obrigado, Kid Bandit. Isso é foda. Present ourselves to the people and then we can start the interview, okay? Anything you want to say, anything, if you want to stop me at any time, if you want to curse at me or anybody, feel free.
Oh boy. All right. okay. Just if we end up talking about like movies, I mean, I just watched Spider-Man, so you can spoil that. But
Oh, no.
I don't know. Like I don't know. I'm not really. There's nothing really going on right now that I don't need to be spoiled for. So
No, okay.
everything's fair game. Good to talk about everything.
I started watching Boku no Hero because I was going to interview you. So if I end up addicted to it, it's your fault because I'm like in the 6th episode and it's really nice.
It's very inspirational. Then it takes a nice little twist in a good way. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it right now because it's a feel good. For now, it's been a feel good anime. I like this. I don't like.
We need more of those. Like a lot of animes are just like, oh, everything's depressing.
Let's be cynical and
Yeah, absolutely.
and greedy.
We all could use a little bit of like a pick me up. Like we watch things for the pick me up.
Yes. Yeah, I heard you talking about in other interviews of yours about how wrestling is kind of like this as well. We need something uplifting for now. So, some days.
Yeah, I mean, remember how everybody just when Cody lost at WrestleMania, everybody was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
We all wanted that feel good moment.
Yeah.
We didn't get that, but we thankfully got it night one. So there's that,
Yeah, we were live when WrestleMania was running. We were on Twitch, and the reaction of everybody when Cody lost was like,
yeah. Right. That's how I felt. Like as soon as it happened, like because I was there at WrestleMania.
you were live. You were in the stadium.
Yeah. No, WrestleMania. So like to segue, WrestleMania weekend, like for the indies in America, it's such a crazy come together moment for all things wrestling. So you get legends showing up again. It's like the gathering. Everybody wants to be in town for WrestleMania weekend. And it just happened to be in my hometown in Los Angeles, and this was so I ended up like wrestling like 10 actually. I think I wrestled 10 matches in Mania weekend, and stuff. And yeah, it was pretty cool. I was one of the most most seen like entities during WrestleMania weekend. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, and seeing Cody lost at WrestleMania must be shocking to you. He was your teacher, right? He was your coach.
Yeah, he's also my favorite wrestler. So it's like, man, oh, like why? But yeah, you know, he beat Brock like afterwards. You know, so that's cool. I just think that he should have won.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to ask you. Like, he became your favorite wrestler when he was dashing and dashing, which...
I think a little bit before that. Like, it was probably... It was because I think I picked SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. He was, like, my favorite character, you know? But, yeah, so just you know, I've always liked the underdog, and a lot of like his early stuff was like very underdog, and then he turned heel, you know, and then I thought he was still entertaining, you know, and stuff. Even I like me being Kid Bandit, a character based like, you know, very very eccentric. I gravitate a lot to like Stardust. You know,
yes.
and I know like there's mixed feelings about Stardust, but I thoroughly enjoyed Stardust.
I really enjoyed Stardust as well. It was a cool character. I love Stardust, Goldust, every character that's like eccentric like that.
Yeah, and that's like a beautiful thing about wrestling is like not everything needs to be like the same kind of like flavor of ice cream. Like there's something best served for someone else, etc.
Yeah,
it's not rigid as most.
Yes, I remember watching Dark Side of the Ring, and there was this episode about... I don't remember the guy's name. And he had a character in WCW, and then it came in WO. It was all, you know, greedy and realistic, and it just killed the whole program with the guy. And it's...
That's just how it is sometimes, you know. You don't... I mean, it also depends on who's watching.
Yeah.
Which, like, for me, like, my character works in certain places, and in certain places, I have to make shifts to my character to accommodate for the audience that I'm in front of. You know, I don't necessarily have a preference in, like, what to perform for, but like the base Kid Bandit character, she herself has like a specific demographic graphic that is that people are going to gravitate towards, you know. So if I'm not in that demographic, if I'm performing in a show that isn't necessarily like wrestling fans, you know, so they're just regular people who happen to wander into the building to watch wrestling, like you have to shift your style to accommodate to those people. You can't wrestle the same match or same style everywhere you go. You have to adapt, and that's like something that I don't think a lot of people talk about. At least like in the indie level, that's what makes indie wrestling such a difficult and tricky industry to like navigate.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, that's a point of pride for a lot of us that we're able to like work any style, anywhere, anytime. You know, like, at least like the best of us, you know, and I don't consider myself one of the best. I have been lucky to have, you know, had conversations and talks with a lot of people who gave me advice, and, you know, I've been applying their talks, and those people are the best. So, you know, not me, but
but you may not consider yourself the best yet, but you are definitely going up the ranks real quickly, right?
I'm trying.
You're fighting some big names, like you fought Miyu Yamashita. That's mind blowing.
Knocked me out. I was like, oh no.
How are you still alive?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I watched the video, and I think I lived because she kicked me one time to stop me from spinning, and I think me spinning actually, like, you know, kind of protected me. There's some signs behind it, but no, like, shout out Yamashita-san. Like, you know, you're incredibly talented, and you scare me.
Oh, shit.
You kick so hard and so strong, and one of the best wrestlers in the world today.
She's outstanding. I remember the first match I saw of her. It was against Yoshiko, I think, at the beginning of last year. And I was like, oh my god, what is she doing? She's going to kill this person.
Yeah, it's a wonderful. It's wonderful to see a lot of like. There's like almost like a Joshi renaissance in the world of wrestling right now, and that so many people's eyes are on product. We had Kairi versus Mercedes that like sold out a show, like, you know, like one of the main events of New Japan in America and stuff. You know, so that's the main event of the first ever New Japan Pro Wrestling Academy was a Joshi battle between American Joshis, you know, Trish Dora and Johnny Robbie, I believe, is the main event. And that's like trained here in our soil, you know, in the style. So that's very cool. It's one of those things that we're seeing a resurgence in so many different like aspects of pro wrestling, and now we're seeing people like embrace pro wrestling as an art form, less of a combat sport, more of like a performance art. So with that, like, you know, we're attracting a whole new type of fan base, you know, like the theater fan base essentially, who are more appreciative of everything that's going on. They're appreciative of the art. They're not necessarily there for the storylines as much as they are for like what you do and stuff. So, you know, that's what I think. That's the magic of wrestling.
Yes, it is. And
sorry, I'm like hijacking the conversation.
No, it's you are you are who are supposed to talk. People hear me talk all the time. They don't want to hear me talk.
Even got
Yeah, I didn't even introduce ourselves. Okay, hi everybody.
Go ahead. I'm so sorry. We just like went off on a tangent. Hope that's good enough. Like,
That's great.
Like, I feel so bad if I wasted so much time.
No. This is perfect. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Squared Circle Tales. I'm Alex. You all know who I am. This is the first time I'm speaking English in front of more than, I think, one person. And I'm here with the protagonist of professional wrestling, soon to be the best wrestler in the world.
Hey.
I'm here with Kid Bandit. Thank you for coming and giving us our time and your presence here. We are really honored to have you.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. This is definitely one of those interviews that went off the rails in the beginning.
No.
we finally reeled it in.
We don't have rails here. We just... where we're, like Doc Brown used to say, where we're going, we don't need no roads.
Yeah, okay. We're back to the future, but it's back to the topic.
Yeah. So yeah, the reason I at first wanted to talk to you was because of your match against Malachi Black at Prestige. I remember seeing that. And then you fought Yamashita, as we talked about. You had your performance on Dark. And the first thing I wanted to ask you is, like, how do you call matches with all these different people? Like, is there a difference between how they call their matches? Do you call it beforehand? Do you call it on the fly? How do you work?
They all just kick the crap. Oh man, I mean, wrestling's a universal language, you know. Doesn't matter what culture you're from. I mean, there's definitely differences. Like Lucha Libre is famously known for having very intricate differences between like American style, but you know, that's part of the magic of it. Like that's part of what makes like the language of professional wrestling very beautiful. Terminologies shift and all that stuff, but the essence of the performance is the same everywhere you go. It is a struggle that you're selling to an audience that involves a lot of combative elements. It has evolved from grappling to very much like martial arts, and you named a couple of like some of the best martial artists to ever like pair boots in professional wrestling, like Malachi Black, famously known for his like Dutch take on Muay Thai and stuff like that. Mio Yamashita, karate, famous for his cooking. I need to avoid like that back, like that spinning. I'm just realizing right now. You know what? I've been getting hit with that specific kick so many times. I can't get hit by that.
In your match against Malachi, there's a time where you are on the corner and he just goes up and kick you right in the face, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, there was something did happen in that match where he kicked me, and his foot like kind of just like slid off my face. So I was like, oh, nice. I'm short. He's not that kick. Like, he has never faced anyone as short as I am. So that means I'm faster and I'm quicker. And as long as he can't get, and I got hit. I was like mid spin when he hit me too. So like.
And it's a great match. So the thing you said about wrestling being a universal language, we saw something like this with Bryan and Okada recently, where they had to basically call the end of the match on the fly, and like they can understand each other really well, so they just talk at wrestling,
Yeah, I am not at their level.
I think nobody is.
Yeah, I'm very cognizant of where I stand in skill level. That being said, why would you say that? And you're gonna face them. Like, how are you gonna win if you don't believe yourself? I absolutely did believe in myself. I believed that I only needed to get them off guard for 3 seconds, and I will beat them. Right? Like that. That's it. Like if I so happen to catch Malachi or Mio or Johnny Television, Johnny Hollywood, Johnny
Johnny Hardy, Johnny,
all the big names like Rich Swann, all the big names I've ever wrestled. If all Sunny Kiss, all I need to do is catch them off guard for 3 seconds, then my name will be written in history. Of course, I'm gonna take that chance. Of course, I gotta risk it. I that's what wrestling is. It's like, I'm not just talking about like winning a match. I'm talking about like how your popularity gets, or you just need to hit lightning in the bottle one time and then ride that momentum. So going back to like the language of wrestling, like I'm not at their level, and I think that if I'm approaching someone that has like that amount of experience, like. When I wrestled Malachi, I haven't been wrestling for 2 years. I think I was like a year and like 2 months into the business when I wrestled Malachi.
Damn.
It has not been that long. In fact, like that's kind of like something I like talk about all the time whenever like people ask me like about like my wrestling. Is like I haven't been wrestling that long. Like I started in 2021.
Yes.
So July 27th. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
You remember the exact date?
Yeah, it's on the YouTube channel for the night. Yeah, that's how I know. That's how I know when I debuted, right? Because I have it on video and like they uploaded it. So yes, that's my thing. I don't think I'm at their level, but I could learn from them. And so the next person that I have to face that's a big name. What did I learn from the last time I faced someone like that was like a big name? And then you take and eventually you'll be one of them. Because at some like I'm looking at it like a video game. You're like like you're trying to get like your bar to 100. Every time you face someone, you take 1 point, and then you take another and you take another. Because that doesn't just apply to like big names. That applies to every single match you do. Because like you could learn from everything. You never stop learning, right? And if you're willing to like just shut up and like learn as much as you can, like if you're willing to come into a match knowing that at some point a mistake's gonna happen, and I'm gonna like learn to avoid it, so in the future I'm not making that same mistake. So that's my wrestling philosophy. Is like I want to perfect the craft. I want to perfect the art. I want to be like talk like about like Malachi Black and like Mew, and stuff like that. So in order to do that, I have to like constantly be gaining knowledge and stuff. So just because like I'm like very recently I wrestled someone in who by standards like they would be there wouldn't be a big name in the business, like they're relative unknown compared to me, but they have been wrestling for 15 years, so of course they have something to teach me. Like, does it matter if like people in the crowd or the audience think that I'm a better wrestler because I've like had more exposure? No, absolutely not, because at the end of the day they've been at it longer, and therefore there is something from me to take so I can learn, and also like everybody has life experiences that they put into their craft in wrestling. I don't need to just learn like what to do in the ring. I could learn how to conduct myself beyond the ring. I could learn how like travel hacks. I could learn this and that, because everybody has something to offer to the table, including you. Like even you, like I'm learning something from talking to you. Like, and that's how I'm approaching everything in the business, because at the end I want to be the best. Come on, everyone.
Okay, that caught me really off guard right now.
Sorry, that took forever to set up.
That was not this was not an answer. It was just a setup.
Alright, sorry.
It's okay.
That's to circle back to the original question. That's the language of wrestling. It's a bunch of different people that like know what to do, and then they kind of just do it. they just and it's funny. Like I had to ask you this as well. Do you have any training in martial arts? Because you do it so well. Like you do it so naturally. A lot of the stuff I do is like self-taught, but I did train in praying mantis. So ironically enough, like the martial art that I do know, I don't actually use much in wrestling, because it's mostly like the mantis forearm and the elbows and stuff. But most of the wrestling stuff I do is kicks and flips and stuff like that, which I learned that off YouTube.
Damn, that's impressive, because it's really amazing. I was watching you versus Jack Cartwheel. It's a recent match, and
yep.
You had a style like it reminded me of Ghetto Strong style, Low Key and Red and those guys and what they did in the ring.
They're some of my influences for sure, which I pull a lot from action movies, same as them. I pull a lot from movies and TV shows, and for me specifically, I pull a lot from anime. Well, at least what I can do, right? Like I can't do everything in like anime. They defy physics, but there are some things that I have noticed, is possible, and yeah, like. Some of the best like choreography in martial arts, like you do them in wrestling and it doesn't really translate well, and vice versa. Some wrestling stuff that you do in like film doesn't translate well, but I do know there is that like nice middle ground of like moves and like sequences and martial arts, like stuff that you can do that like can appeal to both sides, like both like wrestling fan and action film fan, and vice versa. So like that's like that's like hunting for those sweet spots is like what I usually go with and stuff. I don't have the same mindset of it as like most martial artists, in that they do it to hone their craft. Like for me, pro wrestling is my craft, and I use martial arts as like a color to paint my art. I do consider myself a martial artist, but like for a totally different style, which I hope one day to showcase in wrestling. But I'm still barely figuring myself out. So
you are still learning this as well. And the thing you said about learning, it was really nice, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. We are all learning, and it's a really nice thing you said about trying to learn a little bit from everything, not just wrestling, but wrestling kind of is everything, not how you just fight, but how you conduct yourself. I remember you were telling in an interview about how I think Cody told you, like, just be nice,
Yeah.
just be nice to people.
Yep. Oh man, that's something that I think people need to like learn from. But not only that, like it applies beyond just wrestling. So
Yeah, that's something kind of universal.
yep, absolutely universal.
And going back to your match against Malachi, I kind of got some Gara versus Rocky Lee vibes from you too.
Oh man.
Is that accurate, or am I just feeling some gaps?
Yeah, so Zelina Vega, whom everybody is very acutely aware of, is a big Naruto fan. So when we were calling the match, I think she heard me say Leaf Hurricane. She was like, "Oh, Naruto fan." And then she found out that I actually do like the Leaf Hurricane, like the actual kick from the show. Like, you know, I do the spins and everything. And she's like, "Oh wow, that's so cool." So, you know, we became friends after that. But yeah, like I pulled the shin guards down. Yeah, to hit him with like my bare shin.
Yeah.
That was that by the weights.
He dropping the weights. What a moment.
And yeah, and unfortunately, it was the Leaf Hurricane that proved to be my downfall in that match.
Yeah, at least you didn't have to open the portals and everything and got all right.
Yeah, I will say I did do that for a match, and it's a long match, and this is before I transitioned. It's on YouTube, and it's actually pretty cool because there's no like commentary on the match, so it's just like just the action. It's called Kid Bandit versus Ashton Day. It's like a 30-minute match, I think. I don't know. It was like a really long match. We went crazy, and the whole theme of the match was I was opening the 8 gates. So that match, I don't think I've ever like really shown people because like that's pre-transition. But I might watch it again. You know, like just bring it up.
Yeah, and talking about that, how is do you have any matches on YouTube before transition? How was this process of the character in transition with you?
I don't think I would have transitioned if I was never Kid Bandit, to be honest. Like, I think, or maybe I would have, you know, like, you never know, right? But, like, that, like, the reception to my pro wrestling career definitely, like, and just online in general, like, Twitter being, like, so supportive at the time, that helped me, you know, come to, like, the realization that, you know, I do want to transition, you know, I do want to pursue myself. So it did take a while, like, for me to be at peace at it, and like ever since like I started transitioning, like I've noticed like my body just changed. You know, I'm no longer as skinny, but like that's also because like I gained an appetite because of my meds. So, you know, I've definitely made some sacrifices because of like my transition, and watching my older matches where I was definitely way more athletic and way more what's the word? Like, there's two Kid Bandits. There's the Kid Bandit pre-transition who was kind of like a imp gremlin that jumped around, zipping, slapping everywhere. And there's the one that you see now, which is more kick based, just like smarter, like tricks, like uses a trickery to like, you know, beat their opponent instead of like, you know, just jump around left and right. In the perfect world, I could merge both, and that's not an impossibility. Like, you know, I could work myself way back to that. I just need to be able to like take some time, catch my breath, because I've had like one of the craziest like touring schedules of 2022, and that was my first year of wrestling.
That's crazy.
You know, like I had a conversation with someone in WWE, and like we were comparing schedules, and they were just like, wow, like I think you travel way more than we do.
Damn. Damn.
You know, like, cause like I would be doing 3 shows a week, and they'd be like in different parts of the country, and I'm just like, yeah, no, that's so not being able to manage that properly in 2021 was like one of like the reasons why I kept having meltdowns on Twitter and stuff. I never slept. I never had sleep, so there it is.
Damn, that must be hard. And I always wonder how is the traveling. You were talking about traveling hacks and learning about traveling hacks. I always wonder how is that you manage to travel to so many places. Like, do you go by plane? Because I remember back in the old days when we used to watch vlogs from the wrestlers cruising in their cars, like Kevin Owens and these people. And how do you do right now? Do you go by car? Do you travel by plane?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have friends. I'm just kidding. So I can't film myself vlogging on a car because I'm driving. I need someone, but I don't have friends. So I can't do that. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone who is watching this right now, we are trying to hire you to record Kid Bandit on traveling. Okay.
Oh please, and do more than that. I need a lot of help. Okay, so yeah, mostly just travel by plane. I'm like a weird touring wrestler. Most of the time I perform out of state. I'm based out of LA, and like the West Coast are everything's further away from the West Coast. It's like more spread apart. So compared to the East Coast, like driving out here for a loop is like so much more difficult because like you're driving through desert mostly. So that's that's our issue. You're driving through lots of nothingness in desert, which I mean in hindsight that's also like not like a West Coast exclusive, but that's what it is. So yeah, that's where we're at. Like we mostly fly. Sometimes I catch a red eye. Usually what happens is like I wake up at like 4 a.m. and then like I'm on a plane, and then like I get to like my destination and stuff, and then I get back like on Sunday or Monday. But that's the typical like weekend schedule, and it's nice because you're in charge of it. Like, so if you want to find like a show on Friday, then you have 2 shows. Like you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's 3 shows in a row. But it's also like you're in charge of your schedule, so you don't have to like do that. And you also can pick like, oh well, like maybe you have a show like in one state and you have a different show in another, and like you were offered a show that's closer. Then it's up to you to like choose which one you want, and like you can base it based on convenience or whether or not you want to fly out and stuff. And me, like during my first year, I just wanted to like travel. Like I knew. Like my thought process at the beginning was like, right now I have lightning in a bottle and I have to like capitalize on it. So it just like took all the bookings. Everybody that was interested, they got me. Yep.
That's something nice to talk about, like this lighting in a bottle. How did that struck you? Like, how do you deal with it? Because it's so much attention, it's so much eyes on you. You're talking about mistakes that happen in the ring, and like you seem cool about it, and you seem like even welcoming it. But how do you deal with it? Because we're under everybody's eyes.
Yeah, I mean, in my case, it was kind of. I don't think I did a very good job. I think I messed up a lot. Like I definitely I see like posts I posted last year, and I'm like, I can't believe I said that. Like I wasn't mature enough to handle it yet, and I was going through a lot because like I remember I went from like nobody to somebody almost overnight because I was a viral meme, and then from there people kept like trickling, and then I kept like getting more and more steam to the point where I never even had like what's the word, like a period where I wasn't sure what's going on. Like I was it's almost as if it went from 0 to like 100, like almost like within like the span of like 2 months. Because like by my third month, I was on dark. Yeah, like by my third month in wrestling, I was on AEW Dark, and I was wrestling my favorite wrestler of all time, Cody Rhodes, and Fuego del Sol, who's like, you know, like one of the hottest signees of the company at the time. And that was like the whole episode was about like Fuego del Sol and Fuego Dos. You know, so it's like
Fuego Dos, who is not Cody Rhodes, by the way.
Totally, yeah, so totally not Cody Rhodes, yeah. But anyway, like, so that to me, like, I got that out so fast that everything else was kind of like, yeah, like this is where I peak, guys. But no, then I got Malachi Black, and then it kept going on and on. So now I'm at a point where, like, in the beginning, I couldn't believe what was happening. Now I'm kind of more used to it. Of course, it does kind of catch me off guard too, when it finally hits me, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened. Like, but usually it's like, yeah, after the fact.
Yeah.
Like, I can keep my composure like pretty good now, but back then it was like, oh my god. Like, and then it was also like, I didn't handle it good because I just didn't know how to be a popular person. Like my whole life I wasn't popular, you know, so suddenly everybody wants to talk to me, and I'm just like, yeah, like, let's do it. And I don't know how to handle all that. Like, I was like, everybody wanted to book me, everybody wanted to like be my fan, you know, and like it was great because like now all this attention's on me. But then, like, you know, did I get kind of a bigger ego? Yeah, I did. Like, I didn't know how to manage it, and thankfully, I had some people who did care, who went up and said, "Hey, let's check you," and like in the most respectful way, like, you know, possible. And I'm glad that they did, because like now, like I check myself. Like now I'm more cognizant of where I'm at. I try to like be in my best behavior the whole time, and like it definitely was like harder back then because like, you know, like everything was changing. Like you see in movies all the time, like people who like get famous overnight, like they change, they become worse, you know, like they start abandoning their friends, they forgot where they're from and stuff. And I'm glad that like early on, like during that like rise, some people who cared made me like, you know, remember where I'm from. So I kept my roots, like I kept my feet on the ground, and I tried, like I do my best to like maintain that. But you know, and then I transitioned. So like not only am I having like a crazy like blow up in wrestling, I'm also transitioning on top of that, like at the same time, and I'm going through all of these like massive life changes, you know, like I asked my fiance to marry me, so there's that.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. But like there's so much that's going on. Like I ended up owning a wrestling company, you know.
Damn.
Yeah, everything happened so fast, and so, like the running gag with like so many people, so many fans is okay, Bandit's just speed running wrestling.
You're speed running life.
Speed running life, you know. So like, I'm happy about it though. So but there I am, you know. Like that's my thing.
Yeah, but you seems to deal with it pretty well. And these people who checked on were they wrestlers as well? Were they like just regular friends?
Family.
Family. Oh, that's.
Well, some wrestlers did kind of like, you know, were there, but you know, but it was my family that got through to me, like for sure.
Yeah, and you are from Philippines, right?
Yeah. I'm part Japanese, part Filipino, but I grew up in the Philippines.
Yeah, I never met a Philippine family, but it seems to me that it's quite similar to the familiar structure that we have here. Like the relationships is kind of closed, and is, you know, everybody's close to each other.
Yeah, I think that's like very like that's like from like the colonial roots from like the Spanish and stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we were colonized by Portugal, but we had like Spanish colonies as well. So it's kind of
like Portugal and Spain are very like similar in terms of like their familiars, like values and structure. Like they're very like they're culturally culturally parallel with each other. I want to say, you know.
Yeah, that's right. And I saw on your profile picture, and I had a friend, and to talk about this. Thank you, Chavas. Obrigado for the question. He suggested me to make you. You play guitar, obviously, from your profile picture, and he told me to ask you how the emo scene and music in general impacted your life, impacted your character, impacted your ring style, impacted everything on you.
So, I grew up emo as hell.
We can see.
Favorite band was Alasana. Yeah, so you know, I love anime, very emo and stuff. So definitely impacted my life, you know. My fiance like is emo, you know. Most of my friends growing up were emo. And it wasn't a phase for me. For me, it was just like that's just like what I'm into. I like rock, you know. I like metal and stuff. And wrestling is kind of emo.
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy, CM Punk. You know, Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, like, you know, you see like Rhea Ripley. You see so much of like my generation of emo in wrestling right now. You see in the future generation, you see in Nick Wayne, Billy Starks, you know, Brooke Havoc. You're seeing them now. You'll see them like further down the line. You know, the alternative is always like a big part of wrestling. You know, Undertaker, Kane, like. They're goth, you know, freaking, like, yes, their character, they're not really metal, but, like, they're portraying, like, a very metal, like, version of, like, their corny cartoon-based characters, like, back in, like, the 80s and stuff. A lot of, like, you know, Judgment Day is very alternative, you know, like, the dark, broody Malachi, like, you know, black metal, you know, and stuff, so, like, you know, you see it more and more in wrestling, like the alternative lifestyle just peeking through, because I think wrestling does draw a lot of like people into that culture, like the subculture, because it's such a crazy form of entertainment that like you have to be a little bit crazy to enjoy it. And that all of us emos and goths and alternatives, we're a little bit crazy to be into like the darker side of life. And then I mean that in the best way possible.
Yeah. And you talk about being crazy. You have to be crazy to work in it and practice it as well. I trained wrestling like for 2 years. I never wrestled a proper match, but I trained it, and it hurts so fucking much.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's not even you get to the point, right, where, I mean, maybe it's just me, but like, I'm sure
you don't feel it anymore, right?
You don't feel it, but the travel does get you. And I'm sure like some people will like say, oh, the travel doesn't get them anymore, and I one day I want to get to that point, but eventually, like, no, like it becomes like kind of like second nature. And I think that's why, like, you know, you train for 2 years, like, you know, I trained for almost like 2 years too, like that's why like the training part is so long, because when you actually get out there, you don't want it to feel like anything, you don't want it to hurt, you want to be able to just go, you know? Yeah,
I see. And you just going back to Malachi in this match, it's I wonder how did you know, you're talking about calling the match with him, Zelina was with him. How does he call a match? Because Malachi seems like a poet to me. Like he talks so well.
I will say, like, after wrestling Malachi, like, he is a disciple of wrestling. Like, he treats his body like a temple. Like, he has a very rigid, like, training regimen. Like, you know, he looks at it like, and rightfully so, he looks at it like a job. So, just because like he's only in the ring for like 10-15 minutes doesn't mean like the work starts and ends there. You could tell that like, when he's not like working out, he's watching wrestling, studying. When he's not studying, he's like working on his technique. When he's not working on his technique, like he's working on like every other thing. And it gets to the point where I think it's like almost like an obsession for someone like him, right? Where like I feel like even like the material like of his life, like like his non-wrestling related material, he is into that so he could pull stuff from that and add it to wrestling. And that's how he's so creative, right? Like like I have a theory that maybe like the things that he watches he pulls from, so like he could like apply it to like the House of Black to wrestling. Like the music he listens to, it's all meticulously done in like a well like built machine that enhances like his craft. And that's what it's like to wrestle Malachi. And that's why I said like I'm not in his league. And like like because people who live that life, they just live that life, and it's almost mesmerizing how disciplined they are. I am not disciplined. I try, like and it could be because I'm only at like the level of like I'm not even 3 years in. Like am I taking this seriously? Absolutely, but it's also I haven't hit my stride yet. It's like as much as I've done like this early on, I don't think I'm at my stride, like my comfortable pace, as it were. I'm still figuring things out. But that being said, like that's what it's like to call a match with Malachi Black. You just get the sense of like the kind of person he is. Who the amount of effort that you could tell he puts into everything, to the point where you get in a ring with him, and like for me it was like I prepared so much for that. Like I actually got hit by a car like 2 weeks before that, so like I was coming in kind of hurt, but I wasn't gonna tell
you got hit.
I was not gonna jeopardize my chance.
You were hit by a car, then hit by Malachi Black.
Yeah, and then, yeah, exactly. Like it wasn't.
Which was worse?
Oh, getting kicked in the face by a car. To be fair, I didn't get like run over. Like I just got hit by a car, but like that, like I still had like some nagging pains from it.
Yeah.
But like when that happened, I wasn't gonna make excuses. I wasn't gonna be like, oh, I have to like I can't do like this like match. Like no, I'm coming to this match as best as I could, where I'm at. So. Started recovery, started like watching what I eat, like like putting like went to the doctor. I did everything in my power because like you have to put in effort. That was the thing that I was like coming into that. So like to the point where I like even though I did get hit by a car, like I was ready. Like there was nothing that was gonna keep me from being ready for that match, and I was ready. I did come up short, but that's just an. I'm not at his level yet. And then granted, like when that rematch comes, like I know to duck next time.
Yeah. You are not sure enough.
Yeah.
So
I think him grazing my head was actually like a fucking like deliberate plan to like make me put my guard down, because like I ducked him a couple of times early on.
Yeah, and then I had a question that just flew over my mind. Okay, I remember. Although you say you're not in his level, you seem to be from this same school. Like you pull a lot of things from other media and from other sources in your visual and anime and music, as we talked about. So although you say you're not on his level yet, and I firmly believe you will be one day, you seem to like follow this train of thought and this philosophy.
I mean, I think so. Yeah, I think we're both in the same like mindset of like how we approach things.
Yeah, and I'll just a couple of more questions before we go, because I don't want to overstate my welcome here. You seem to like video games, like you started with wrestling, playing video games, right? With SmackDown versus Raw.
First exposures to wrestling was video games.
It was SmackDown versus Raw 27. Yeah.
Seven. Yes. Yep. Oh, it's 07.
07.
Right now.
The first one I played was 06. But 07 was fire, and 08 was great too. Like, and the thing I wanted to ask you is,
I don't think I played 06. I played 05. 2000, like the first one, 2005. But then I never really got into it. But I played 2005 after I already played 07.
So I see. And how does this affect the way you see wrestling? How this change your perception on how you build your matches, how you build your character, how you choose your moves? Because I wonder if, when you're creating a wrestler on these types of games, and when you're playing GM mode and creating your sceneries, this activates something on your creativity, and I think that must help when you're on this business.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so you know how, like, wrestling isn't like, it wasn't always an open art.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like, there was this thing that, like, there was like an invisible barrier that people in the business put between them and the fans, so like fans wouldn't know how things are done, how everything's operating. And nowadays people talk about, like, oh, look at that carny promoter, look at that, like, oh, like, we got podcasts like talking about like how people are quote unquote unsafe, and then, like, so what's the kayfabe here now? Because, like, if it's kayfabe, then shouldn't that guy be trying to injure the other person because, like, that person slept with someone's wife? Like, why are we complaining about people getting injured? That person had it coming because of, like, how much of a jerk he is, like, But we live in a day and age where we don't want people injured. Why? Because, like, people understand this is a performance art, and people don't want to admit, people don't want to say it, but that's what we, like, at the very bare bones of it, this is a performance art. It's like a highest form of performance art because it requires acting, dancing, drama, comedy, everything, martial arts, flips, kicks. I don't know, like, I don't like dancing, but I've had to dance for wrestling so many times, I've lost track. So, but that's it. Like, that's what wrestling is. So, with that being said, like, when you have, like, such a conflicting viewpoint in how wrestling is viewed, like, is this like a real thing? Is this a fake thing? Like, is this performance art? Is this combat sport? Is this sport with, like, script? Like, with all that, like, it's really hard to, like, determine, like, everything. It's such a diverse, like, art form. So and it has a diverse fan base and stuff.
Yeah, I see. And okay, just the most obvious question.
So to go back to the to the question. So it's so hard. Like, I totally forgot. I think I was building up to a point, but I couldn't figure out a way to get there. But
you were going to set me up to another song?
No. It was because it's such a diverse art form, like, and it's so hard to, like, view it. I use, like, the creator suite to study moves, and that's how it helped me with, like, my moveset.
Oh, that's nice. I never thought of it.
If you turn the analog stick, then, like, you can see the entire how moves are done, and you can just watch it repeat over and over till you figure it out.
Yeah, I had a teacher called Death Rider, and he was not called Death Rider, of course, but he taught us to use the WWE 2K games to know how our moves would affect our opponents in the match. So like if your finisher is focused on the head, use moves that focus on the guy's head, and try to understand if your move really is focusing on this guy's head or his arm or anything like that.
Yeah, you're right. Like, I think I subconsciously catered my moveset to, like, all target the head, because, like, my finisher is like a head move, like it's a stunner, or it's like my angel killer. So yeah.
And it's like such a cool move because it's like an angel wing and you flipped it. You put it your own thing into it.
Yeah, thought process was like, I like the one winged angel, I like the Ushigoroshi, I want to make the that's it, that's all.
I'll make the angel Goroshi now.
It's a Tenshi Goroshi. Angel killer, so that's why that's the name of it.
That's too cool. And okay, so now I just end up with the most obvious question of all. There was a program here in Brazil where the last question was always, what is life? But I think that's too hard on anyone to ask. So I'll just ask you, like, what are your dream matches? Because you fought so many good people already. So what is left for Kid Bandit?
Oh man, I honestly at this point, like, I want to work for, like, not necessarily a dream match, although there's a lot, but I think I'm gonna switch it up. Like, I want to be like a writer for a major wrestling company, or like a producer.
Oh, that's really cool. That's a dream.
Nobody, like, that's the end goal for me. So we'll see.
Oh, that's cool. I hope this works out, because you are great. You're, like I said, I think you pull a lot of things from a lot of places, and you do a thing that I think it's only yours. Like, I don't see anyone doing it like you do. So it's really cool. And yeah, you're just a nice person.
Yeah, nice.
So, okay, we'll leave it at that. If you want to plug something for the people, or send a message, or curse at anyone, or talk about carny promoters like the one who got Uncle Ben killed. And I love this tweet, by the way. It was late here when you tweeted it. I couldn't laugh. It was real late here.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm just I'm Kid Bandit Pro on every social media. I'm Kid Bandit Pro Wrestler. If you like kicks, flips, and all that stuff.
Soon to be Kid Bandit the writer.
One day.
Okay, so Kid, from us, from WrestleBR, and from your fans here in Brazil, and from me personally, thank you. Thank you for your time, and for your patience, and for your patience with our time zone, which is way different. So thank you very much.
Thank you. You have a good one.
Thank you.